Yeah, hello, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters. This is Africans Online, and as you all know, my name is Wachuku Emmanuel, your broadcaster for this very edition. And with me in the studio, as you can see, is Mr. Sebastian Schierman.
Schierman.
He's a political expert advisor here in Europe, a German, and have done this adversary business. Helping people like countries like Eritrea, Somalia, and so many other places that he have helped in rallying people together and getting their movement organized. And for some days now, I've been releasing some videos, and you have been hearing voice telling us and advising the Biafran people, which I introduce as experts who knows how to get about and around what we are actually looking for. And today, ladies and gentlemen, how wonderful it is for us to have him in the studio here. And with this, I say you're welcome to our studio, sir.
Thank you very much. It's an honor to be here. Thank you.
Yeah. So, as you all know, Africans Online, we are here to help always look into issues and matters surrounding Africa and the world in general. The issue which I always talk about here, I am into the program Africans, I am Biafra, sorry. This is about the Biafra matter, the problem that is going on right now in Nigeria, the eastern region of Nigeria. The Biafra, if you are conversant with what is going on, you might have through so many ways now heard about what is going on, or through me, or through the Africans Online, or so many other outlets there, heard about the situation on the ground in Nigeria, which is not all that very favorable or conducive for the people of Biafra. And Mr. Sebastian here have helped us a lot of times to advise me in private and in sections which I have also released to you people. Here again now we are glad to welcome him here, as I have said. I know he have looked into our issue and from there has given his wonderful advice. Today I want you to, as I welcome you in the studio, we want you to say whatever you feel through your research you have done so far all this time, you feel you will tell the Biafran people first as a remark before I can go on to if we have questions. And at the same time, I would like to you cameraman to please turn around. We have also guests in the studio. People, you know, here we promote all kind of African culture, and be them music, be them films or conversations we entertain on. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is our guest. So we continue now over here to our dear Mr. Sebastian. So what can you tell us before we have questions to ask you, and for you to know exactly where it hurts us?
At first, I want to send my warmest regards to all the Biafra people out there, and I hope that you are all healthy, and we send the regards from our lovely Germany all the way to wherever you are. Yes, I have spoken with Emmanuel for quite a while, and we were discussing. He introduced me in thorough to this case of Biafra, and it is heartbreaking to see what is going on around the world and especially locally. And we were discussing of what ways could literally be done, or what ways could be a peaceful way to not to create havoc and war or anything, because in the end history has shown us that that war will never lead to fruition, neither to happiness, neither to growth. So when Emmanuel and me we were discussing on that issue, I know that there are certain groups out there who would like to secede and from this secession want to become independent of Nigeria, which is a legal and a legitimate interest. And then there are people and groups out there who might think that doing it in a more harsh and more violent way will succeed quicker, which I personally object. But that's my personal opinion. Please, whatever whatever I say today and you hear is more my personal and private comments and is not being represented by German government or anything. So, for having said that, we were discussing, and I believe that one way of the Biafra people to find their way home, let's put it this way, is to unite. Unite, you can only do this through peace. You can, when you unite in peace, that means on the groundwork, it at first has to be done the tedious work of getting all the different groups to share one identity, share one goal, share one vision in order to move ahead and create what all the Biafra people unite. Based on that issue, once you have come to the point that you speak with one voice, then one opportunity is to overcome the how shall I say the fear or the blockages and the conflicts you might have with federal government, because it's always first and most important that you focus on yourself and get strong within. Once you get strong within, then you can get a lot of international support in order to create partnerships on the ground based on your own cultural identity. This is, I think, for the first, I would say.
Yeah, I'm really very grateful for that very remark and advice. You see, I am very, very acquainted to what is happening in my land, Biafra, and it's not easy for somebody who is an outsider to come in and give the best of advice if you don't exactly understand what is going on. So I would like to take it from what your research have told you about the movement and what you believe is the best way to go about it. Because if I want to go deep down into how will what you are saying work out, it means we have to go into deeping down to in what situation, what condition is the movement as at now, which I know internally is completely horrible. There are a lot of voices shouting, some crying, some saying A, the other is saying B. So there is a very big misunderstanding among our own internal home. Like you said, the first thing is to build that alliance within and trust within ourselves. Assuming we have done that, because you are not going to do that again for us. The way we are going to go about bringing that unification, I tell you, we have tried that lots of times within the years. And up to today, we have not finally gotten a headway, but I believe by the grace of God, we'll get to that. So my question will definitely have to deal with what you really stand for. When you come into play, when the people are already organized, what you can tell them as an advice on how to build a system of government. Like you, I want you to touch hand in on the issue about creating something that looks like the charter that is going to bind the people, to make our people to know how important that will be, and also using this to recognize the Supreme Council of Elders, which is the customary system of government that is right there in the Nigerian Constitution as a legal method of governance.
Thank you. I think the first step you asked now 3-4 questions.
Yeah.
Try to keep them all in mind. In order to proceed, you asked me if the unity would be done. I think before the unity is done, and I think you said it right, the charter, some sort of constitution, some sort of Biafra constitution that unites the people. The difficult part is, as we look, for instance, at the German history, which was similar to the situation we had in 1848 when we had the first parliament. The situation is that one has to overcome all the different voices without getting down to the format that you can unite all and sign one charter. It will be very, very difficult to think about anything else. My proposal to that would be to set some sort of a meeting up where all the leaders with all the different voices, whatever, are willing to be able to send 1 or 2 representatives who know, in fact, the organizational intention, what they want to do, what they stand for. bring them on the table and let them sit together. The leaders are the ones who literally execute, but in that current state, if all the leaders come together, often we have the situation that leaders are too emotional attached to certain personal outcomes. And what is important now to step back, if you're a responsible leader, to step back, let all the advocates or the technical teams who do the organizational, who are capable of drawing up a constitution, that they will sit together, however that will be, but they all speak one language. Once you have all those people sitting together and they can easily define on the current denominator what is it that you all want, and I think the biggest achievement everybody wants, whatever political interest they have, is peace. I think Biafra, like hardly any other region in Africa over the last, well, we just had a couple of days ago the commemoration to that, which left lots of thousands and millions of people dead. That is still in mind with the people when the political issue of Biafra is being discussed locally, from that what we've heard. So in order to move ahead, I would say get the technical people together, bring all the voices together, but focus on the charter, focus on the principles that you want to do. And once that has been done, and that result, I assume, and will be with the right intention. You said, you mentioned God. I strongly believe that God will lead this committee to make a choice, to make a path, because the intention is peace. And with that committee setting up some sort of constitution, setting up some sort of legal structure, organizational structure, that is then a way where the responsible leaders of whatever direction they will be able to compromise on that, so that you bring unity. That was my first answer. I hope that was all right so far.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Yeah, I'm really very grateful for you being in the studio today and to enlighten us. I will, before I go over to what you think, the message you think you can give also, or what you feel to tell the Nigerian government as to how to lessen, because of the situation of the things, the military attacks they are using, the heavy-handedness the Nigerian government are using for people who are only protesting. What can you tell to the Nigerian government, and how also will you use your own your your personality to also talk to the European community to look into the problem of what is going on in Nigeria? Because as it stands, I see that it's like nothing is happening. But I tell you what is happening in that land is when you see a truck or a lorry goes over 1, 2, 4 people, we all cry. Also with the Europeans here, we feel it. With them, we cry because we live here, we are married here, we have children here. We feel for them. But it's as if there's nobody who cares about what happens to dozens and thousands, millions of Africans. I tell you, the last year, I don't know how many people knows how many people were killed in my area, but it's as if this doesn't even give, that nobody cares about that. It's nothing to the face of the world. So I want you, what can you do? Somebody who have researched and who have been in Africa, who have gone into matters like this, what advice will you give to the Nigerian government based on your experience and what governments does in times like this to people who have been oppressed, like the Biafrans? What can you, as the Nigerian government, advise them to do with us, and also the European government to come to our aid, irrespective of the fact you don't believe in actual succession or outright, like what we are talking about? I see from your point of view, but I believe that greater autonomy, like we were talking about, is what we need, but we are going down to that succession one day.
The first thing is, I'm not representing the European government or anything, and I'm there to tell the Nigerian government what they have to do. What I can only do is, I'm coming from peace, I'm coming from love, I'm thinking of all the people, and you said it right. We in Europe, we don't know enough about Africa. This is one big problem, and I think this is why I'm so grateful that you have this radio station, that you do all this effort to help us Europeans to understand more what's going on. Now, as you also rightly said, I know Africa quite well because I lived there, I traveled, and I have dealt with various administrative levels and governments partly. In terms of what Nigeria can do or should do, this is far from what I'm allowed to say or should say because this is a political matter. But in terms of from the historical point of view, in order to find a way to that everybody finds peace in that respect, is that the federal structure of Nigeria is a federal structure which is tending currently to be more centralized than it should be. The federal structure, in my eyes, is always the best ideal case, but it should require a cultural supremacy of the ethnic groups, in that case Biafra. So I think if anyone or if anything could be said regarding the federal government and politics, if the government in Abuja would support the cultural understanding from the Biafra people and allowing them to find themselves without interference, I think this would be already a big step. The second step is if Biafra, I know that Biafra in Abuja is a threat. And I think this is a very important thing that the Biafra people also understand that whatever process you do, it shouldn't be a threat. You can't create a dialogue, you can't fulfill whatever you want if you're threatened by extreme secession or whatever. The political situation that you currently have is, and I strongly support the Biafra case in that respect, that its regional autonomy is being legalized to one respect, one way or the other, but it should be in the, I think, one possibility could be, for instance, a confederation of states rather than a total secession. I think based on a confederation, for instance, if you would start with a confederation of Biafra states, that would give a new beginning. It could provide a new format where you could find yourselves under, and with having one voice, then you could also go by attending the legal matters that are literally defining you and the governments, and that is probably where the most conflicts reside, especially with the Niger Delta, with the oil and other natural resources that are important for the federal government. But in order to push the case for what one should do, as I say, the Nigerian government has their politics. I'm not here to say they are good or bad. I can advise on what I would be willing to do, and I told you that before. If anyone asks me, in order that I provide advice on strategy in terms of coming from the unity into the next steps, and that includes not only a charter like what we've discussed before, but it must be then, of course, also like an international platform, and I don't mean aggressive, violent platform. I mean consolidating a peaceful platform with, and there's so much know-how and knowledge and interest out there in the world, and especially through the internet. And in Germany, people are getting more aware of Africa, and there's more interest also from the German people to find ways to learn from Africa, because, and at that point I want to state clearly why African people are very, very important for the bilateral situation with Europe. One thing is that Europe became very technical. Yes, we are very historically proven, we have learned a lot of things, but nowadays where we benefit a lot from our African neighbors, our African friends we have here in Germany, is that we learn again about emotions. And emotions on the good side can open hearts. It can show you that, hey, I'm interested in what you do. The negative part, of course, about emotions is irrational acting, and that can lead to disaster. So I think with Emmanuel, he's a very balanced man, and he is a visionary, and he wants to bring positive change and is willing to help. So for that matter, I think that a Biafra case could be a good starting point for a new European-African relation in that respect, that is a case where we can benefit both from each other. Okay.
Thank you very much. I'm really very grateful. We have just this very few time, and I'm wonderful. I'm really grateful you coming into the studio today, and I still believe that you might find time some other time to give us some oral or audio interview or also visual interview like this one. Now we are really, really appreciative of whatever effort you give from now you have given before and will also continue to give. What I understand from you is a lot of things based on the strategic methodology, working out how to go. And but at this very point, what I see you are talking about is that our people need to go into dialogue among themselves. Yes. To bring the peace into the home first. They say charity begins at home. And if we can work it out in our own home, then we will be strong to face any odd that we meet outside. So today, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters of Biafra, it's been an honor to have with me in the studio, and for the rest of us watching, this is Mr. Sebastian here, who is our advisor, so to say, because he has been very, very good to me, irrespective of what he thinks to meet people like him, but he has made it a little, very, very, very easy and possible for me to be able to enjoy his audience. And also that means it's good for the Biafran people. So thank you very much for being here.
Thank you. It was my honor.